So next question that I'm asked is, well, what happens without Measure E? So I want to be very blunt and straight to the point, and I'm not painting a picture of doom and gloom. I'm just being very realistic. It just means we're going to have to deepen our cuts. I'm going to have to recommend more cuts because no matter what, the expenses have to match the revenue. We don't have any other options. So here is a menu of the likely cuts that would be coming starting next year. Very straightforward. And again, we're not painting a picture of gloom and doom because we're nowhere near bankruptcy. We would just have to reduce our expenditures. And the only way to do that is to deepen our cuts. You can see an entire menu of options here that would be possible. Now, so the question is, it would be up to the city council based on whatever staff recommendations would be to make priorities and choices. So here's an example of the priorities and how I would recommend them. And it's based on what every city has to do, which is to rely on what revenues we have to provide the best public safety we can. So obviously, I would defer any severe cuts to public safety as long as it was possible. So we would start with all the other civil services and civic programs that we provide, whether it's in reducing staff in various departments, reducing more further in the Public Works General Fund, reducing further in our cultural and community services. I'm certain we would close libraries. These things are real. They would have to happen. And as we move from year to year with the forecasted structural deficits, we would continue making these, and they would have to be permanent cuts. And I also want to draw your attention to the bottom of this slide, which shows you where our reserve is. This is our rainy day fund. It's already, as I stated, it's anemic. It's extremely low. We are on thin ice. And as that slide says, this is not good. So whatever we do, we still have to keep, even at a minimum, the smallest possible reserve should another emergency occur. So this is, again, if I'm forced to recommend cuts, this is a snapshot of how it would be prioritized. Now, this is based on the forecast we had recently. We don't know yet the extent and the length and the depth and the breadth of the current recession. We just don't know. So these numbers could change for the positive or for the negative. So I want to make that clear. This is just a forecast, but I just want to show you of the kind of sequence that I would recommend. Further, there are items right in front of us with no funding whatsoever that we have to tackle. Some of these, regardless of what happens with Measure E, we're going to be confronted with, and that is the aging out of the seawall infrastructure in the harbor, the water quality issues there, the 70 miles of alleyways that we have that we've never had any funding set aside for, and the homeless crisis. These are things we're going to have to contend with regardless of what happens. We can't avoid these items.